Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to digitally add your stamp and endorsement to your document. I am using a photo editing program called Figma to achieve this. You don't have to use Figma. You can use anything else you want to. Get creative with it. So you want to go to figma.com and you want to create an account. Again, it is free. And you also want to make sure you have your document already downloaded on your computer. I'm using a credit card statement that was downloaded as a PDF that I already have on my computer. So once we've done all that, we're going to be here at this screen. We're going to click here and click new design file. So now we're looking at our blank canvas. So at the top left button, we're going to click, go down to plugins. I'm going to press find more plugins and we're going to type in PDF to Figma. This is so we can upload a PDF, and we're going to click run. This will install it. And now it's asking me to select my PDF. So I'm going to double click and I was going to bring up PDFs on my computer. So I'm going to select my PDF. So once I select my PDF, it's going to give you a preview. And so right here on the scale, this is the resolution in which we want to upload it. We want to choose the biggest size, which is ×4. Then we're going to press insert pages. Then I can click the X. Now I'm going to zoom out by holding Control and scrolling on my mouse. So now it has input all 7 pages, but we don't need all 7 because we technically only need the first 2. So I'm going to delete the other ones. So I'm going to just left click, delete, 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 delete. So now we only have the first 2 pages, which is all that we need. I also want to say, if you installed the plugin but it did not pop up, you would click this top left button again and then go to plugins and then click PDF to Figma, and now it will appear. But now that we have our first 2 pages, so now what I want to do is, now we want to add, essentially create a frame that's going to be the size of the piece of paper that we're going to print. So to do that, we're going to click F on our keyboard. That is the hotkey to make a frame. Then I'm going to just drag a square, right? So now I have this frame. I'm going to click it, click the name, and just drag it down a little. So now we want to manually size it. So on the top right, I'm going to click the width, and I'm going to type in 816. That's how wide it should be. And click it again. I'm going to click the height, and the height should be 1056. Now you see that's a lot smaller compared to this because these are way too big. We're gonna have to resize them. And now I want to actually copy this. So to copy it, I can left click, hold Alt, and drag, and then let go. So now I've created 2 sheets, same size. Now I want to create my stamp that's gonna be on the top left and my endorsement. So to do that, I'm going to bring up a text box, and the hotkey for that is T. So I'm going to press T on my keyboard. I'm going to drag a text box. See, it's really small, so I'm going to have to zoom in. Again, hold Control and scroll on my mouse to zoom in. And then I'm going to type in for presentation. Enter. And then I'm going to press enter twice. Now I'm going to create a blank line. So I'm just going to hold shift and press underscore basically to create a blank line that can be signed on. And then I'm just going to resize this and make it smaller just to fit. And now we're done with that stamp. And now if you want to change the color, because technically it can't be white, it needs to either be blue or black. So once we're selected on our text box, we can click this box right here, and this allows me to change the color. I have made mine blue, so I can drag this over here until I find a blue color essentially. And now it's blue. And now I can create another text box for an endorsement. And again, just drag it out. And then basically it's just going to be pay to the order of. And then I'm going to, again, make a blank line. And then technically you can just sign that with a pen. And then I'm going to press space twice, then signature. And then a blank line again. And that's where you would sign your name. And again, if I want to change the color, select it, I click over here. And I can click this, and now it's the same color. Okay, now it's time to put it all together. So I'm gonna take my first page and now I need to resize it. So the hotkey to resize something, this is different from cropping, we are resizing. I'm gonna press K. So notice this changed over here. We have move and we have scale. So then I'm just gonna drag it to the corner. Basically, you're just gonna drag it until it's smaller than this page. So I'm gonna drag it some more. And now we want to place it inside. So now that it's inside, now I want to make it a little bigger. So I want it to be as big as it can be, but have some room at the top, right? So this may be too big. And so this can be at the bottom because when we print it off, this can be at the very bottom because when we print it off, there's bleed room on the paper. So there will be room at the bottom of the paper. So I think this is about the right size. We're gonna grab our stamp over here and we're gonna try to drag it on. So you have to make sure that your stamp is in front of your document, because your document is also a frame too. So if I place it too far down, it'll be placed inside of it, and we don't want that. We want it to be outside. So this is too big, so I'm gonna scale it down a little more. So I think this is the perfect size. So to make sure that it's in the middle, make sure I'm selected on it, and I'm gonna click this right here, which is gonna center it. So now this looks good. And now I have my stamp. I can click it and I can use the directional pad. I can use the directional pad on my computer to bring it down by a pixel at a time. Now we just want to make sure that we're looking, so I'm selected on my stamp, and we want to make sure that it's further enough from the edge, from the left or right edge. It needs to at least be 25 pixels. Right now we're at 29, we could just make that 30. So I can click here and then make that 30. So now that we're 30 pixels away from the left edge. And again, since we have bleed room on the top and bottom, being 5 pixels from the top is completely fine. So now technically the first page is done. And again, just a reminder that your stamp needs to be in front of this. So you look at the left corner in the frame, you can see that my stamp is on top of my document so that my stamp is in front. So you may be experiencing some difficulty. Your stamp may be behind your document. So to change that, you can drag it up here, or we could right click on our stamp here and press bring to the front if you are experiencing that. So now we're just going to do the second page. So we're pretty much doing the same thing. I'm going to grab my document. I'm going to make sure that I press K. I'm just going to drag it down. We're going to put it in. And so this one, we actually don't really need to resize like that because we're not putting anything on the top left. And again, if I want it centered, press this button over here. And then, yeah, and that's pretty much done. We don't have to resize as much. Then we're going to take our other stamp, our pay to the order, and we could just place it. It doesn't really matter exactly where you place it. I can just place it here so that's aligned with everything else. And then now we're done. So now I have both my frames. Everything looks good. And so now what we want to do to export it, we would click here. We would press File, and then press export frames to PDF. And now this downloaded this as a PDF to my computer, and now I can print this off, and that's the end of it.